Welcome back to Her Life Fully Lived. I'm so happy you are here today because my guest is someone who has become truly dear to me over this past year.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
met Susanne Blohm through my mentor, who coached both of us together in a small group. And from the very first meeting, I could feel her presence, grounded, warm, and completely unwilling to accept anything less than the truth. We later spent a week together on a retreat in Canada, which was great fun. And what
So
I
fun.
witnessed there only confirmed everything I already sensed about her and her work. Susanne is the co-founder of B&B Coaching Academy, where she and sometimes also her husband Alan help people design a life rooted in self-worth rather than performance. She spent over 30 years as a teacher, speaker, and leader. And for the past 9 years, she's poured that same devotion into entrepreneurship and now guiding women toward what she calls their quantum leap. Her mission, in her own words, is to help 1 million souls remember, not earn, remember their own worth. And if you're listening to this show, chances are you spent a long time earning. So I think this conversation is going to land exactly where it needs to. Susanne, welcome to Her Life Fully Lived. I'm so glad that you are here.
Thank you for having me, Anja. I'm so excited. I just love your energy too. So I was so glad to hear that you felt it when we met as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay.
Absolutely. So, what really intrigued me when I learned about your work, you talk about self-worth as something we remember, not something we earn. Can
Mhm,
you take
mhm.
us back to the moment you first realized how much of your own life had been built on earning worth instead of remembering it?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that we very often are measuring ourselves against other people. Do I deserve it like they deserve it? And I was doing that for
Mm,
decades. We
mm,
aren't born that way.
mm,
There's no way one baby's laying in the crib in the hospital looking at the other going, oh, I guess he deserves the Pampers and I just get the no-name brand.
yeah.
For me, honestly, when it hit truly was probably within the last 10 years. I really noticed that my confidence existed in areas that I was experienced and felt my worth because I had worked for it.
Mm,
But the minute, which for me was teaching, but the minute I left that arena, I really wanted to stand in the corner and kind of cry in any gathering. I didn't feel enough. And that
mm,
really, I guess, pulled me to discover what I did discover,
mm,
and you know energetically that we pull to us what we need at the time. The
mhm,
student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's when I really leaned into coaches who were teaching us that you deserve everything in life everyone else has. No need to hold that back. You just need to remember that you deserve it. You've been
mm,
taught not to.
mm,
And I would say that that was 10 years ago, and it was huge for me. Groundbreaking. It didn't mean that I instantly walked into those situations and felt better. I was having troubles writing a vision down because I didn't think I deserved what I wanted, right? So it was holding me back in ways that I didn't know. And it took a really neat coach to sit down and go, why don't you deserve it? Of course you do. You just need to remember that you do. And she was not so patient about it. She was like, get it together, Suzanne. Which is maybe where I get a little of my mannerisms from. Yeah,
So sometimes we need a little push, right?
sometimes. Yeah, definitely. More than a push sometimes, but
Yeah,
yes.
interesting. So many of the women listening are highly accomplished. Full careers, full calendars, all the outward markers of success, and still feel like something's missing. From your
Mm.
work with entrepreneurs and leaders, what does that gap actually look like on the inside, even when everything on the outside says you've made it?
I can feel it just thinking about it
Mm,
because I've had that feeling. There is a hollowness. There is a feeling of never
mm,
enoughness.
mm,
that my to-do list needs to get longer because these things haven't happened yet. And so that feeling, very often people come to me in that area and they're searching for their purpose. They think that they haven't found it because they're feeling hollow inside. And I mean, generally, that's where we teach people to reach within. But it is that emptiness. It's disappointment in ourselves. It can be even some fear that will never be enough, that it will never happen for us. Even though we're doing everything right, like you said, our calendar's full, we're making the appointments, we're being recognized at work, we're doing all those things, but there's that emptiness, and that's the time when we need to come home to ourselves and go, who am I really? Address those feelings inside. Where are this coming from? Very often it's what I was just talking about, remembering who we are, remembering what we deserve in life, and remembering that we can find our purpose and act in it. It takes a lot of work sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it. Oh my goodness. You call it a quantum leap rather than gradual change.
Yeah.
What's the real difference in someone's body, their decisions, their daily life between a person who's slowly improving and a person who has genuinely leaped?
That's a really good question. I was just teaching on this. There is nothing wrong with small growth and slow growth. Nothing wrong. When we sit as accomplished women, we can feel like we would, oh, I've been working really hard. I would love this huge thing, but we can feel trapped by these goals. Well, I've just got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. Goals are good, but there's three types of goals. Type A is I've done it before and I can do it again. I earned $1,000 last week. I know exactly what to do. I'll do it again. Type B is I haven't done it, but I have a pretty good idea. So if I earned €1,000 last week, I'd like to earn 2,000 this week. Well, I could start by doing double that. So, and those are goals and they're great, but goal type C is what I call vision, where you have zero experience and no idea how to do it. That is what we're aiming for when we're quantum leaping. And so that then requires some outer influence, whether you believe in God, spirit, universe, you name whatever that is, that there is going to need to be some help because you have no idea. That involves faith. It involves knowing that that's meant for you. When we talk about vision, very many women ask, well, how do I know that that vision's mine? Well, yours is very different from mine. And you'll feel light and you'll feel joy and you'll feel empowerment. Some people have visions in their mind that are other people's. Maybe their partner wants things a certain way. Maybe their parents want things a certain way. And how many of us have gotten a university degree because our parents wanted us to? We have this happen. But, as we're moving along, we slowly need to believe that we can do the next thing. And so that slow growth that a lot of people encounter is them moving up the ladder of belief about themselves and what's possible for them at a rate that they are be able to predict and foresee. When we set a vision, that again removes that prediction and that foreseeability because it is involving a higher power. That's the quantum leap, is to be able to go, oh, instead of all these little things, I can go to that. And the answer is yes. And we can quantum leap one area of our lives and not others. And you've seen and heard the stories of the people who are extremely rich, but they have no relationships. So we can quantum leap in one area and not in others. And that's what I work with people on is, wouldn't you like it all? And what does that look like? And how do we make that shift? And that shift is that knowing and believing that it's for us. And that takes some background work, of course. And it takes having a solid vision. Quantum leaping is fun and it's beautiful to see in other people. I have so much fun with that.
So it comes down to beliefs. So manifestation gets used so often, it's almost become a buzzword, right? How do you define it in a way that's grounded and actionable rather than something that sounds like magical thinking?
Well, our thinking is magic, but you're right. I get it. And for me, I am very grounded. I don't like the airy-fairy talk. We are always manifesting. We are always creating results. And we know what kind of results, how we're manifesting, what level we're manifesting at by looking around us. So if we're not content with certain things that are in our life, if we're longing for more, then acknowledging that is our number one step. That's when people are like, hashtag grateful. And they're just not acknowledging that they would like more. They're not going to change their lives. Gratitude is a huge manifestation tool, but it is not when it's false. So we need to acknowledge what it is we would really love. And for me, that's I help people create a vision, right? That's values-based, passion-based, purpose-based, acknowledging that. The second thing is being honest with ourselves. If I believe that that was possible for me right now, why don't I have it yet? So if I don't have that belief and that knowing of what is meant for me, then addressing our self-concept, addressing our identity, what do we believe to be true for us? Do those beliefs, which may have served us before, do they still serve us now? And if not, how do we adjust them? And we can adjust them. Absolutely, we can. Thirdly, it's awareness. It's noticing what's happening, noticing how we're feeling, and not pushing those things aside. So if I notice a similar result in a relationship with someone, we just always seem to be butting heads, always seem to be butting heads, notice that. What would I love instead? Go to the vision. I would love that our relationship was deep and meaningful, that we had wonderful conversations. Okay, so who do I need to become? What's my identity I need to become, my self-concept, in order for that to be true? Someone who's loving, someone who's non-judgmental, you name the things, whatever it is in that relationship. And then be that person now. The next time that friend comes over you butt heads with, greet them with love and understanding. Let them speak before you speak, doing all the things that a wonderful relationship, friendship person does. We can act now from the vision that we would love, and that helps shift our identity. That's what makes us able to manifest what we would love instead of what we're manifesting currently, even though we might still have some of that current stuff happening, right? Does that make sense, or did I miss any?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so interesting. Tell us about a client who looked like she had it all together, or a man on the outside, and what actually shifted for her or for him once she or he started this work.
Okay, I will tell you about a client, and I will use a she. This woman, I will call her Sarah. Sarah had it all together, and by that I mean top athlete, competed globally in her youth, had like globally, had an amazing career. Her profession was exactly what everyone thought it would be. She met the man of her dreams and they married and had 3 kids. Life was really, 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 really good. And then it stayed good. There is nothing wrong with good. But Sarah noticed she wanted more. 25 years in, probably 20 years in, we started working together. The first thing that Sarah would say was, I feel so bad wanting different things. I feel so bad wanting more. That's that lack of self-worth. We are human. We deserve more. We want more. We're like a blade of grass. We're always going to grow and reach for more. There's nothing we can do about it. Being grateful has nothing to do with it. We can be grateful and still want more. So we worked on self-worth and self-deserving, and we clarified a vision. And in her profession, she could travel, but her husband, in his profession, it was very limited. There was always a story. He was always working very, very, very hard. Everyone expected him to work very, very, very hard. And so for the last 20 years, this global athlete who had traveled and seen the world had been grounded, and she still wanted to see the world. The most recent thing that happened for her was planning a trip. She wanted to go on a trip. And she was saying to me that this wouldn't work because for her husband, he always works. I said, does that story serve you? What are you believing to be true? That there's no gap of time in his life? Does that serve you? No. So I encouraged her, see what you would love, see the trip you would love, see more than one trip. Leave it open to the universe. What would you love to see? And spend some time on that vision and recognize that this is for you. that that is your vision because it's for you. And for her, that vision involved taking the brave step of mentioning a trip to her husband. And I say brave because there was always a story around him as to why he couldn't possibly go, that she'd so much so she'd given up asking. So she did the work. She worked on herself. She saw herself as a woman who travels the world with her husband and how beautiful their trips are. And we worked on that identity. The next thing she did was walk downtown and go to a travel agent and ask questions about trips. And she started spending more time in that work, looking them up online, deciding, but talking to someone who could really guide her. And then she had seen so much of what she wanted to do that she went home one day without planning it and said to her husband, "Would you love to go on a trip on a cruise to Alaska with me?" And he looked at her and he goes, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure." No stories, no nothing. Just, yeah, sure. Now, did she do anything to him? No. She shifted her energy. And what happened? The universe basically wants to follow along and give us, the universe only says yes, but what are you asking for? And that's what she was realizing. She was asking for more stories. She was expecting them from her husband. She was expecting not to travel. The minute we change that expectation, bingo.
Wow. Beautiful story.
Mhm.
And a
Mhm.
beautiful outcome, right?
Yes, yes. So
Mm.
possible. So
Yeah.
possible for all of us. It's just believing. Where is our identity at? What are we believing to be true for us? Yeah.
So if a woman listening feels the ambition, but has quietly lost touch with what she actually wants,
Mm.
because she's been so busy achieving what she was supposed to want, where would you tell her to start today?
Firstly, and I needed to hear this, that where you're at today is exactly where you're meant to be. And that blaming yourself or blaming others for it, there's no power there. And so acknowledging that you would want more is number one, and allowing your imagination to go there. And some of us, I was there, I told you this, some of us cannot even dare to vision for more because we don't believe we're worth it. I would invite you to start noticing people around you who are similar to you, who have things you would love, and recognize if they can have it, so can I. And that start of that belief is super important. And then before you know it, your imagination is going to go wild, and there's going to be a vision for you that lights you up. But that foundational place to stand is, I am a soul on this human earth, in a human body. I shouldn't say human earth, on earth as a human in a body, who has come down here for an experience. Is it truly my desire to tell that soul, as me being a human, that it doesn't deserve the experience it came for? That feels pretty heavy handed. That soul does deserve this experience. They came to have it through you, and all we're doing is allowing it to flourish.
It's beautiful. Self-worth is, or not having self-worth is a very deep belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's one belief about your own worth you had to unlearn and what replaced it?
I didn't realize I had this belief. I had a belief that I spoke too much and out of turn. So much so that virtually every time I spoke, I apologized. Not when I taught, I knew my space there, but anywhere else. That, by the way, that manifested itself in so many ways, and me getting issues every time I got sick, it was always here. Why? Because that's where I'm hung up on stuff, is my speaking. And so what happened for me was, and I'm still working at it, I heard myself apologize for speaking to my husband yesterday. It's not like it's gone in an instant. But what occurred for me was that if I am a soul in a human body here for an experience, if I have something to say, do I believe it's my human or my soul speaking? And I recognize that it's my soul speaking. And just like experiences, is it up to me to deny? And my answer to myself was no. And so that allowed me now to flourish more into my relationships, into my coaching, into even just speaking to the guy who looks after my car. I mean, I always think that's a blue job, pink job, right? That's a guy job. How ridiculous. And leaning in and asking questions and saying, can you explain that to me in a way that makes sense for me, and recognizing that I have a right to be there. I see things changing. I was too afraid to even call for an appointment for my car. I always made my husband do it. Right. I have clients thanking me. Oh my God, Susanne, thank you. That just what you just said made that click for me. And it's those things that are reinforcing for me that I am meant to speak, that my soul wants to speak. And it is right that it comes through me. And the freedom of that feels beautiful. Like I said, still working on it, but it is beautiful.
It is so true. Huh? When we were in our coaching program, people love to listen to you. Yeah. People loved always your advice.
Mhm.
It would be such a pity if you didn't speak.
Well, that's kind of you. Thank you. But I'm pretty sure I even apologized then several times. So I'm still this work in progress.
Yeah,
And
we all are.
it's awareness,
Yeah.
right? Awareness is key. That's why I spend so much time on awareness with people. Are you noticing? Because what you aren't noticing is slowly manifesting an outcome for you that you don't even realize is happening.
If someone listening can only take one action after this conversation, what would move the needle most?
So many things. Acknowledging yourself inside, taking a few moments to just sit in silence and recognize that you're more than your name, you're more than your job, you're more than any role that you have, that you are a soul here for an experience, and that experience would love to manifest itself. When we connect with who we are as a soul, and it can just be moments, we are suddenly empowered to take steps forward that we wouldn't have normally taken.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Susanne, thank you so much for this conversation and honestly for who you are in my life beyond this microphone.
Thank you.
If today's conversation stirred something in you, I'd invite you to sit with just one question before you go back to your day. What would it look like to remember your worth instead of trying to earn it? You can find Susanne at susannebloom.com and connect with her through B&B Coaching Academy. Links are in the show notes. And Susanne, you have also prepared a little gift for our
Yes. I do. Thank you,
listeners.
Anja. Before I tell you about the freebie, you're amazing. And the work that you do is amazing. And the help that you give
Thank
people in
you.
relationships, I can feel it when you speak to others, your work there, and it's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
My complimentary gift is a PDF, and it's Revolutionize Your Success: 5 Tips to Quantum Leap Your Life. And these are small tips that you can take to start on that journey towards creating a life that you would really love to live. So that's what I have for everyone today.
Beautiful. I will also link it in the description. And thank you again, Susanne. It was a pleasure of having you.
Thanks, Anja.
And thank you for listening to Her Life Fully Lived. If this episode moved you, share it with a woman who needs to hear it, and I'll see you next time.